Someone once said, if you show me your commitments, I'll show you your destiny. There's a lot of truth in that statement because you really are the sum total of the things and people that you are committed to. Commitment is something that in our culture really doesn't mean much. Our culture says don't worry about being committed, just worry about being happy. And if you're not happy, then move on. If you're not happy with this person, find another person. If you're not happy with this bank, find another one. If you're not happy with this church, find another one. And so we live in a culture that says commitment isn't important, and yet we follow a Savior who spent a lot of time teaching that commitment to the important things is what gives value to your life. It gives stability to your life. It brings security to your life. So it's important to always know the things that you are committed to. Sometimes you know them, sometimes it just happens that you be committed. And so let's talk a little bit about 4 specific commitments this week. And these are the 4 specific commitments that we have asked all of our new members at our church to make for the last almost 18 years. If you're a member of our church and you've come to one of our membership classes, then you know these 4 commitments, or at least I hope you do. If you're not a member of our church and you just watch our Devos, we're so glad you do, but we would love to invite you to be a committed member of our church. These 4 commitments were kind of born out of my first few months here at this church when we sat down with the church and said, what does it mean to be a member here? Why is being a member at West Main different than being a member of any other church? And these are the commitments that we came up with. So let me read the first one to you and give you just a little bit of thoughts on it. The first commitment that we ask everybody in our church to make to our church is, I will protect the unity of my church by acting in love towards the other members, by refusing to gossip, and by following its God-given leaders. Refusing to gossip, choosing to love, and following the leaders. These are the things that make for unity in a church. Unity is so important. Jesus spent a lot of time talking about how important it was that we were unified. In the New Testament, we see phrases like the church is one body, one faith, one message. Unity is critical for a church to move forward, and unity is difficult, especially in a small town, especially in a world so divided by opinions and agendas and thinking and beliefs. And unity does not mean that you and I have to think alike or believe alike or even vote alike. But unity does mean that we both know the direction we're headed, and that is following Jesus, and we're both committed to doing it together. That's what unity looks like. We are headed in the same direction, and we're all following Jesus, unified together, even when we disagree. And I would say, especially when we disagree, we have to protect unity. The truth is, if you're a member of a church, you're going to find somebody there that you disagree with. And so you have to figure out, as a Jesus follower, how to continue to move together with somebody you disagree with. And that's a good thing to learn. It's a good practice to learn. Boy, talk about unity. One of the biggest unity killers, especially in a small town, it's gossip. Gossip can sink a ship quicker than anything out there. One of the things we have to do as Jesus followers is just refuse to gossip. So if you start hearing gossip, what should you do with it? You should say, well, what's the source, and let's find it. Don't spread it. Find the source. Shut it down, because gossip kills. And then lastly, unity is protected by following the people that God puts in charge. That's hard for me to say sometimes because I know how flawed I am. And yet God has asked me to lead this church, and one of the ways you can protect unity is just to follow the pastors that God gives you. Unity in a church, what an important thing. Unity only happens when you and I unite, when you and I are committed to the same things. So if you're a West Maniac, if you're a member of our church, how are you doing on this one? Are you protecting the unity of our church? Are you praying for those and loving those that you disagree with? Are you just flat out refusing to gossip? Are you getting behind the leadership that God has placed over you? These are important things, and nothing would make Jesus happier than for us to be a unified church. And nothing would make our enemy happier than for us to be a divided church. So let us do the things that make for unity. Let us be a united church, and let us be committed to those things so that we can add value to our church family. Thanks for taking the time to watch this. We love you guys. Bye.